This week we're back on pay-per-view with the trilogy looking to decide the real welterweight champion of the world, with Leon Edwards looking to defend his belt against Kamaru Usman. And I have the betting tips, technical breakdown and prediction for you. Hey guys, welcome back to Ascendant MMA. This week we've got UFC 286, which is an absolute banger with the UFC's return to London, stacked from top to bottom. Obviously the headline act, we've got the trilogy between Kamaru and Leon, which is going to be an absolute banger. We've also got a highlight co-main event with Justin Gaethje taking on Rafael Fiziev and a few other interesting matchups. So we're going to break down these and a few others that catch our eye from a technical angle, provide our insight and prediction on these and a few other fights that catch our eye. Just a heads up, if you like the content and you want us to continue making these types of videos, give this video a like, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Maybe chuck a comment on this video, let us know who you're riding with this weekend and let's build this community. Without further ado, let's get into it. First fight we're going to be breaking down on this card is Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Dusko Todorovic. So this is a bit of an interesting one for us. A couple of weeks ago, we got approached by one of Christian's boxing coaches who's an old friend, and basically he said, you know, watch our videos and he likes our breakdowns. So he approached us looking for some, you know, technical analysis on Dusko, which we provided, which is pretty cool to know that, you know, people like that are watching our videos. But we thought we would just share a few of our thoughts from that one before this fight to see how bang on we are, basically. So what we did was pretty much went through all of Dusko's fight in the UFC. He's actually decently experienced in the UFC, so there was enough footage in, you know, this organization specifically to be able to, you know, break down and analyze. And from there, we provided a few takeaways. So I wanted to run through a couple of them with you guys and just see how close we stack up when Christian fights on the weekend. So the first takeaway that we had was attack the lower half and the body initially of Dusko. You know, he's got very good head movement. He's got an evasive kind of style and a good ability to roll with shots. But in counter to that, he's also extremely heavy set on that lead leg and he backs up laterally. So all these things kind of lead me to think that concentrated attacks to condition the lower half to damage those legs early and body, and then move the target to the head once he's, you know, anticipating those lower attacks will be really, really effective. Another takeaway we had was finishing combos with kicks. Again, this is to help turn Dusko's strengths into obvious weaknesses. I'd recommend, you know, to take a Thai sort of staple rule and use it consistently here. Again, you know, while his head may be hard to find clean early, his body and his legs will not be. The lateral movement is a huge area to exploit, and as soon as he backs away on that straight line, you know, while his head may be out of the distance, his body and legs are always going to be there. So roundhouse, switch kicks, all those. Another point that we said was accentuate those opposite stances. So we noticed that Dusko struggles with straight shots down the pipe, and given that Southpaw versus Orthodox potential with Christian being able to fight switch, this takes a lead hand out of the equation, relies on that outside foot battle and really opens up that cross down the middle, which I think is a huge area of potential for Christian. Also, the lead leg will be open on the inside and the outside to target. I think if you're standing Orthodox versus Orthodox, look to accentuate that jab and work off the back of this. For me, feints win this fight. I think Dusko's defense is built off anticipation. The best thing you can do is stunt that from the opening bell, you know, feint that rear hand fight with the lead to distract, throw him off, hip feint that lower calf kick and build off the back of that. I think once success is had, Dusko's confidence is going to be low. Those feints start. I'd specifically be looking for that 1-2 feint followed by that rear head kick. Think Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman 2. Punches in bunches, you know, while he may slip that first shot, he's always going to be there for follow-ups. If he's in close, hooks are on the money. I imagine that step-in, switch stance combos, finishing with hooks will cause real trouble for Dusko moving back laterally. Another key point that we said was making his comfort zone the danger zone. So Dusko is very, very comfortable when pushing his opponents up against the cage. He uses underhooks and head positions to hold them there while looking for boxing combos that he starts with the body and then works up high. Basically, we don't want to let him get too comfortable here. You know, use short slicing elbows off that Thai plum, work over hooks to foot sweeps purely to kind of get him off balance and reset, and just be aware of that body work. He isn't overly dangerous in this position, so use that to our advantage. And lastly, don't rush, take your time. Dusko can be dropped, but he does work through dangerous situations well. I'd say take your time, choose your options wisely. The opportunity to hurt and to finish will present itself many, many times this fight. So if you hurt him, stay calm and work through the process. So basically, after all that, we're pretty confident in Christian. You know, Dusko's a good fighter, but I think this is a pretty bad stylistic matchup for him. And I think this is a good matchup for Christian to come into this UFC debut, look really, really good. And I think he's going to get a highlight finish, to be honest. I'm thinking maybe, you know, 1-2 switch kick to the head head something with a head kick to finish. But yeah, taking Christian Leroy Duncan by round 2 KO. So the next fight we're going to be breaking down on this one is Justin Gaethje taking on Rafael Fiziev. This is an absolute banger matchup, and I personally can't wait to watch it. I'd say that the line is probably a little bit wide, but I can kind of understand why it is there. I had this one 60-40 to Rafael Fiziev, all my cards on the table early, and real odds are, roughly 70-30. So a little bit wider than we had it initially, but that's how odds makers work. So no real surprise there. Into the technical analysis, I think this is kind of just a bad matchup for Justin Gaethje. We all know how he operates. He likes these brawls, these barn burners. He likes to make more technical guys just brawl and get out of their shell and more comfort zone when, and then he can start to push pace, push pressure, break them, and just, have more cardio, durability, and just be able to withstand damage more, basically. I think his style is going to have just a hard time here with Fiziev. Gaethje we always hear about this wrestling background. He's got this collegiate wrestling background, blah, blah, blah. But when have we ever seen him use it in the UFC? He doesn't use it defensively on the ground. His grappling is really weak, and that's why he got submitted a couple of times in his championship fights. Yes, they are against good grapplers, but it was pretty dominant when it got to the ground. He's coming up against Fiziev here, who is an elite striker. Very, very quick, very, very technical, very comfortable on the feet. He's also worked on his cardio and his wrestling defense to be able to keep the fight standing, which I like. RDA didn't have much success in getting him down, and when he did, he was straight back up. He spent most of that time against the cage stuffing takedowns, and then when it was in open striking distance, it was Fiziev all day. And, he's just such an educated striker. We saw that in the RDA fight. The step through switch stance to the hook, we did a little breakdown of that ourselves, and that was super high level to catch that RDA was looking for that check hook, dropping that hand against the chin, and he caught it. He looked for it multiple times that fight because he noticed it and he caught it. So really impressive. One thing in this that I think is going to have a lot of advantage for Fiziev is that he's just got much quicker hand speed. I think the hand speed is going to be a massive issue for Gaethje in this one. Gaethje has problems with good boxers in the pocket, basically. He's very, very hittable there. And I think the hand speed of Fiziev is just going to cause real issues. I think he's going to be able to pop, 3-4 punches before Gaethje's even landed one on the outside in kickboxing range. It's Fiziev all day for me. I don't think Gaethje's going to have much success with those, tremendous leg kicks that he has, because he's in the pocket when he does that. And I think Fiziev's just going to be too dangerous, too conditioned, and too well versed in the striking era. If Gaethje wrestles and, can engage a brawl with Fiziev, maybe there's a chance that Fiziev gasses out and Gaethje takes over late. But for me, I just think the seasoned striker in this one is going to prove that he's on the incline and he's coming into his prime here. So yeah, going to take Rafael Fiziev via unanimous decision. And finally, onto the main event, we've got the champion Leon Edwards taking on the challenger Kamaru Usman. Man, it feels weird to say that. Yeah, not going to talk too much about that second fight because we all know how that played out, and that's what every breakdown's consisted of this week. So going to stay away from that one as much as we can, but just noting that we did pick Leon in that one and it came through. We had a huge play on him on round 5 as well. We had a massive collect, so looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Let's start with Leon. Very, very well-rounded. He's got that nice technical Muay Thai striking game. Fights out of southpaw, and he just, he's able to apply great forward pressure as he moves forward. Got great leg kicks, especially to the lower calf. He's, has a lot of success with that leg kick, especially fighting southpaw stance fighters. He's got beautiful straight shots. His bread and butter is that cross down the pipe. I really like his feint game. He's very, very good at feinting that level change with the jab. He tries to get his opponents to move and then counter strike off that. Few of his strikes that I really, really like. His lead right hook, it's nasty. 1-2-3 combos on the money. He's a very cerebral fighter. I think he's very smart and, he's determined. He's got good willpower and he showed that better than anyone in that last fight. His trips against the cage are elite. I said this before the last fight as well, and he was able to actually take Usman down with that, leg sweep and then to come up on top. Very good at knocking his opponent off balance and getting the fight to the ground and applying that top pressure. again, said that before the last fight, and he proved that by taking Usman down, who'd never been taken down before, getting on top, landing some shots, and then actually taking the back and threatening submission. So can be content to lay in close guard or half guard and use his ground and pound. He's got very good timing on his jab also. When the opponent tries to close distance, he's just popping it out. Also very good at countering with that leg kick off the jab, which is just a Thai staple. He does use a very common sweep in Thai where you kind of step through and switch stances, and you use your close leg to sweep under the lead leg of your opponent as you pull them back with your arm. I do like that here, and especially if Kamaru is constantly moving forward and looking for that clinch position, that would be something that could catch him off guard. In close, I really like his combos. He's defensively quite aware and throws smart hooks, got good uppercuts in the pocket, good use of his elbows on the ground, but more so in clinch situations. He's great at winning that overhook battle and using his opposite arms to slice with his elbows, and he's just very, very precise. I think in this one, if Usman thinks he can hold that clinch and be super safe, I think he is in for a shock. In that last fight, everyone's talking about the 1-2 head kick. Beautiful setup, beautiful execution. He's got good takedown defense. I think he matches up with Usman just very well. He's able to use the cage well. He looks strong. He is strong. He's very well built. Man, he looks nice coming into this one as well. And just to me, I think he excels when he dictates where the fight is. If he's getting pressured backwards, which we saw in the second fight, if he's getting pushed backwards, he can be uncomfortable. He can be smothered. So I prefer him moving forward in this one. So on to Usman. We know how this guy operates. Elite wrestler. He's got, supreme cardio, supreme durability. He's able to just move forward, smother your shots, push you against the cage, wear on you, and just take over. He's got kind of stalking pressure. I'd say he's able to move slowly forward, cut off the cage, and work out of orthodox, work on that improved jab. With his coach Trevor Whitman, he uses that jab and just makes his opponent worry and think about that kind of inevitable wrestling exchange that is going to take place. In the pocket, got very good counter left hooks. He caught Colby a couple of times coming in. But he can also be caught in the pocket because he's not great at getting his head off center line. We saw Colby hurt him pretty bad in the fourth. And we also saw that head kick. Obviously, that was an irresponsible defense from Usman in that one to lean that far with the slip, and he got caught for it. As I said, just very good at wearing on his opponent, whether it's, the straight shots or just making his opponent carry his weight while he foot stomps or something. One point I just cannot fathom with this guy is the knees on him, basically. It sounds weird as a point, but all we ever hear about as fans is, how bad of a state his knees are in, having to walk backwards downstairs, not able to road run. This is kind of just a side note to me of how conflicting this is when you consider this guy's cardio output and cardio capability, but more than this, that's just a side note. I don't want to make any accusations, but regardless, it's kind of just always confusing to me how nobody ever targets the legs of this guy. No one ever hits many leg kicks. It's just super confusing, and I really do expect Leon to exploit that here. Usman, has an elite jab now. He uses it very well, puts it in front of almost everything he does. And we just know how he operates, out cardio, push forward, win minutes, and kind of rely on what happened in that second fight kind of not to happen. So how does this fight play out? I think there's a few critical points we need to take into account on this one. One of the main points is where this fight's taking place. Not necessarily just in London, but not at an extreme altitude level. To me, this will completely shift the levels in this fight for both men. I really do expect to see a much better Leon, more so than Kamaru, given he trains at altitude. The second is how Kamaru comes back after that finish. I think his confidence is going to be lower and his durability has to be questioned after what was a brutal finish. The last is just the attitude for both men in this one. The mental warfare plays out in almost every fight that we see, and I do think Usman mentally is a really, really tough guy. I just think we see Leon be so much more comfortable in this position. To me, I think Leon's in his prime athletically, mentally, and I think Kamaru is probably on the decline. I think that's fair to say. I think if Leon's wrestling has continued to get better, which I think it will have, the ability to just absorb the pressure, to stuff attempts, to work off the cage, to keep this one in kickboxing range, I think he'll win. I expect Leon to use leg kicks much more. I think he's going to accentuate that southpaw versus orthodox battle, working his biggest positives, which are the straight cross and the head kick. And yeah, I like him in this fight. I picked him last time and I'm sticking strong with him. I'm going to take Leon Edwards via unanimous decision in this one. So that wraps up the breakdown for UFC 286 this weekend, guys. A couple of underdog picks here that are going to go out in the weekend. Just on last week, we had a really, really, really poor week. Just made some bad reads, and yeah, I think got a little bit unlucky again with some of them, but probably just some bad reads overall. So looking to bounce back on this card, and it looks like there's probably going to be a fair few underdog plays and probably somewhat of a decent betting card. So yeah, really looking forward to it. As always, stay tuned to our YouTubers. We're going to be pumping out the content now. We're in for a really, really big year. Don't forget, as always, to chuck us a like if you enjoyed the breakdown and subscribe to keep in the loop. Make sure you head over to our Instagram at Ascendant.MMA, as you know, we're constantly posting over there. We talk fights in the DMs with everyone week on week, and we also post our betting card on a Saturday morning, so make sure you keep your eyes out for that one. We love interacting with the community, and we're always talking fights, so head over there and let's talk and check it out. And yeah, that wraps up the video for this one, guys. So as always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.